Let's see. Let's see. Are we live? Can y'all hear me? Did I hit the button correctly? Is this live? I think I'm live. I'm doing this without Amina. So yes, I'm live. Okay, I see myself on YouTube. Hi everybody. How's everybody doing? How are y'all? Yes, hello. Venus, thank you. Venus was like right off the top. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Thank you. Yes, appreciate that. Appreciate that. How's everybody doing? Everybody all right? Can you hear me? Because I'm doing this with StreamYard. This is the first time I'm doing this. I was hoping I could do it this way so that I could have somebody join me here in the chat. Or I guess here on the screen. How's everybody doing? All right. Good morning, Shane. I see you. Hi, Rhonda. Hey, Amsterdam. Appreciate you. Veronica, Sharon. Oh, some folks in here. Inez. Hi, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. Listen. Oh, hey, TMFJ. I see the fire emojis. How you doing? Virgil, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning. I know I said yesterday, I think I said 10:30 to 10:45, but child, got to get my daughter to dance, had to go to the orthodontist. There's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. So I'm just glad I got to make it by 11. Hi, Sandy. Hello. Appreciate you as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How's everybody doing? I saw somebody said they were going to go see Sinners, which I'm going to go see it again because I feel like I listened to Karen Hunter and Dr. Daniel Black talk about it in her show on Monday. Oh, thank you for the hair, love. Thank you. But I listened to Dr. Daniel Black and Karen Hunter talk about Sinners on Monday. And y'all, I promise you, my Black church girl who is sort of not an active part of the church for reasons, which I'm happy to go into, or not. But yeah, that movie did my heart really good. It did my heart really, really good. Amy says she's going this weekend. Yeah, I'm gonna go see it again. I didn't see it on IMAX. I was just me and Brian in the theater, but I think I'm gonna go see it again on IMAX this weekend because I need to be able to talk about it. But I also did not want to talk about the movie until everybody else got a chance to see the movie. So that was the thing. Because it's so good. And it's not a scary movie. I don't do scary movies. My philosophy is I'm not going to pay for fear. Like I don't do roller coasters. I don't do and not because there's anything wrong with roller coasters. I don't pay for fear. Like and things that make me afraid, I don't find a lot of joy in. A water slide, I will do a water slide. Maybe, but not like the gigantic ones or whatever. So I'm not a scary movie kind of person at all. At all. And in fact, I think the only scary movie that I have watched in full was The Poltergeist when I was a little kid at a birthday party. While it must have been a Halloween party. Why we were watching The Poltergeist in elementary school, I don't know. But ever since that time, I don't watch scary movies. And I guess that tells you how effective The Poltergeist was at scaring the hell out of me. So yeah, and somebody said if you ain't seen it by now, but we gonna give people because it came out on Holy Weekend. The Pope had just made his transition. A lot of people weren't thinking about it, but it is what it is. But I thought it was a very well done movie in terms of the themes, in terms of the revelations as it pertains to the fact that if you try to separate your sources of power, you're gonna end up working against yourself. The musicality of the film and showing us where our power actually lies. I think it raises a lot of questions. And then hold on, there is a book. I thought I had it here. I don't have it here. There's a book called The Healing Wisdom of Africa by Malidoma Somé. And to me, that film invoked a lot of memories of reading that book. So, and also Malidoma Somé's book Of Water and Spirit. Excellent books. Excellent, amazing books that I think people, if you read those books and understand what's happening in those books, or if you have read those, I'm not saying you have to read the books before you get to see the film, but if you have read those books, you will just come away. It was really good. We are going to be talking about it on the show next week. So hopefully everyone will get a chance to see it. And we'll get to check it out. All right, so let's see. My goal today, I really didn't have a main point. I have not even read today's edition of the Financial Times or any of the other papers that I usually read. So I was not trying to do a whole news conversation today. I feel like we get news like every single day of the week. And y'all know I do my best to try to make the news, the scary, funny. I do my best to try to make it palatable and, hopefully that's successful, but today I'm like, we don't have to do news. Somebody said in class with Larry. That's funny. All right. So I think I'm going to try this thing. We have never done this before. but I said I was going to try this, where I drop the link in the chat and then one of you can come on screen with me. Now, am I supposed to give this to a specific person? I don't think so. Let me see. Y'all, we never did this before. All right, so I'm going to drop the link in the chat. And I guess whoever clicks it, this feels like taking a caller on the show. Whoever clicks it, I guess we'll find out what happens and then we'll see. All right, so the link is now in the chat. Because I would like to get to know y'all as much as y'all get to know me. One of the challenges with this YouTube space is that, and even somewhat in the SiriusXM space, but with SiriusXM, there's a lot more intimacy for people who are listening to the show. We know each other in a different sort of way. And then in Nubia, like, for those of you who are part of Nubia, there's that as well. But the YouTube space is a little different because y'all who only watch and consume this content via YouTube only know me through these clips and through these lives that we do. So I don't get a chance to actually get to know y'all and interact with y'all. So I would like to. So I just dropped the link in the chat. Oh, ain't nobody gonna click the link? All right, shit, we could talk. Y'all know I can keep talking. Did the link go through? Let me see. Thank you for support. Yes, thank you for supporting. Yeah, hello, Carol. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's one of the things that happens during the week. I don't get a chance to see what's happening in the chat live because I'm literally going from newspapers to all sorts of things. Somebody said do a rant. I can't just do a rant. Gotta have something to rant about. The rants are, they come when the spirit calls them. All right, I'm dropping the link again because apparently don't nobody want to join me on screen. I'm very nice. I am a very nice person. Somebody said I'm scared to click the link. Why would you be scared to click the link? I am such a nice person. And I don't like, this ain't about like, what is it? Not what the kids say, we listen and we don't judge. This ain't that. I just want to know how y'all doing, who y'all are, like where you're from, how you're doing. Somebody said do the Miss Claire voiceover. What you mean, Miss? Are you talking about Claire Huxtable? Claire Huxtable. Okay, wait, hold on. We're gonna come back to the Claire voice in just a minute because my daughter doesn't think it's Claire Huxtable. All right, we've got Julius Williams who's going to join us. All right, Julius, we about to make history, friend, because this is the first time we're doing this. Let's bring Julius to the stage. Hello, you are muted. Hello,
Hi.
Julius P. Williams III. You got your full government name out there.
Yeah, I'm at the gym.
You're at the gym, but we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Oh,
we see you. It looks like you're at the gym. Oh yeah, he's working out. Okay, working out. You working out for the people. I'm just gonna pretend like I'm interpreting what he's saying. He said he's working out for the people because the people need strong Black folk to have their back. But we can't hear you, Julius. So I'm gonna remove you out the thing because thank you though. Appreciate you. Thumbs up. Yes, keep that workout strong. Make sure you lift with your knees. Don't be careful. Lift with your knees. Don't hurt your back. All right. Anybody else go? Y'all could hear him? Oh, you know what? Hold on. You know what? Hold on. I think this might be because my settings. Oh, Julius, hang on. We might have to bring you back, brother. No, it says it's going through I was going to say maybe my microphone is not. Oh, you know what? I see what I did. All right, Julius, you might come back because I had my settings mixed up. All right, Julius, let me bring you back. Oh, my God, I hear you now.
yeah.
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Your icon just popped up.
I appreciate you being willing to let us in on your workout. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to do this last shrug and then I'll be with y'all.
You know what? Oh, y'all, he said I'm going to come on here just so y'all can see me power lift. That's what Julius said. Somebody said the Pope just died. The Pope did just die. The Pope just died because JD Vance, I don't know, but I've heard the rumor mill is that JD stands for just killed the Pope. So I don't know whoever that was in the comments. All right. So Julius, you just did your lift. How did you come to find this YouTube channel? What is it that is about this YouTube channel that has you letting us join your workout?
Oh, I've been listening to you for some months now. I first was catching Karen Hunter on the YouTube stuff, and then you popped up and I started watching you. And I was like, man, she knows everything. So
I don't think that's quite true, but thank you. I'm glad that that's the impression that is received anyway.
Und auch wir haben beide in Deutschland gelebt, gewohnt.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Natürlich spreche ich Deutsch. Ich habe in Deutschland für 15 Jahre gewohnt.
Ach, ich hatte zu viel Deutsch vergessen. Und jetzt ich spreche Spanisch auch Deutsch. Ich war in
Yo puedo
Stuttgart
hablar un
geboren.
poco en español también, pero no
Man,
mucho.
okay, now wait, hold on. We could do this all day, but y'all like don't nobody know what we saying. How did you come to learn German? Where did you learn German?
In Germany,
That's a good
I
answer.
I finished my grad school degree in classical voice, and then I
Wow.
decided to go out there to do opera, and I was teaching English to make some money, and
Wait,
then
hold on. You said you went out there to do opera?
yeah, I teach at Berkeley College of Music. I'm a singer.
Julius, let us find
Yeah,
out. Let us find out. What? Okay, so you're in Germany, you're singing opera. How long were you there?
for 15 years. But I ended up doing
Mm.
mostly musicals because I needed to eat, and I couldn't wait till I got that big job. So I ended up on German cruise ships, and then in music.
Oh man. Julius, walk back to where you were. Your signal just oh, your signal messed up. I wanted to hear Julius sing. Wait, are you back? Okay, we can hear you again. We can hear you again. You were frozen.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you drop
Uh,
some bars for us? Can we hear you sing?
I might disturb the people in the gym.
They got their headphones on. They're not even listening. It's just you and me right now. It's just you and me.
My voice, because I kind of went out to a club last night. So, but I can try. Dies Bildnis ist bezaubernd schön, wie noch kein Auge je gesehen. Ich fühle es, dieses Gottverbild. Sorry.
What? Y'all did it. Oh my god, that was amazing. So you're a tenor.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you're a professor at the College of Berkeley College of Music.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. How long
So
have you been teaching and what do you teach?
I teach all the, I teach voice, I teach acting for singers, intro to R&B, uh,
Wow.
musical theater choreography, dance styles for singers. I direct
Wow.
the Curtain Up show. And choreograph for that. I do also the singers' night shows, and yeah, I think
Well,
that's it. And I do, yeah,
you're getting a lot of love in the chat. Blackavelli said that you are a weightlifting opera singer who speaks German and Spanish. Interesting. Yeah, we are multifaceted people. We are a
yeah.
multifaceted people. Julius, thank you for dropping in and dropping some notes for us. We appreciate you. I didn't know how this was gonna go. So
Thank
it's
you very
great for
much.
me because I get a chance to interact with y'all. Thank you for giving us some time today. We appreciate you.
It was an
Yeah,
honor to speak with you and meet you. Very much of an honor.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Now be careful with your workout now. All right. Don't,
I will. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye, Julius. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay, that was fun. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Okay. Y'all can tell I don't do this a whole lot. Sorry, I'm getting my whole life together. All right, so hold on. We have Chardonnay, who is also she clicked the link. Yeah, he was good. Joseph, he was very good. TMFJ said, thank you, sir. He said, Larry know all the things, but sound like he know. Yeah, he's talking about you know all the things, but it sounds like Julius could teach his own situation. So, well, and I guess technically he does because he is a whole professor. So, all right, Chardonnay is joining the conversation. Hello, Chardonnay. Oh, you look like you are in a gloriously, beautifully warm space.
Hi, good morning,
Good
Larry, right?
morning.
Larry?
Yes, Larry, like Marie, but with the L.
Yeah,
You did it perfectly.
I had to make sure. Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Chardonnay. I am located in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Beautiful Georgia.
I'm sitting in my backyard because I was trying to plant a fig tree because I'm trying to get my garden together.
Okay, but wait, that was a couple of flexes right there. Like,
Oh,
right, like you were like in my back because I'm looking at it in what looks like a park behind you, like a whole expansive space. And she's
oh
like,
yeah.
it's just my backyard. I'm just planting a fig tree. You know what we do here in Georgia.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I've been wanting to plant a garden for
Yeah.
the longest. Even when because I'm prior military, so I was stationed. I used to live in Belgium.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's why, like, when I started watching you a few months ago, I was just like, oh my gosh. I know that you're a Navy or a military brat. Are you Army? I
Yep.
think you said
Army
Army
brat.
brat.
Yep.
So that's why I kind of related to you, although I was in the army. But yeah, I lived in Europe for about 3 years. And
Nice.
so I wanted to start it then because I was in Europe during the pandemic.
Oh,
And
wow.
some things went down, didn't end up doing it in my backyard. I came back here, got my first home, and now I'm like, finally I can do it, especially in these times, trying to live by what we're preaching to everybody about, you know,
Right.
self-sustainability in these times. But I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I never did this
No,
before.
don't be nervous. I never did it before either. So we trying it out together, child. It's you and me together. We figuring out. I ain't never did this before. I didn't even know if the thing was gonna connect to my live because yesterday I did a live during the show, but I had 2 streams going at the same time and didn't even know it, child. So we figuring
Yeah,
it
this
out.
technology, listen, it'll
Girl.
tear you up.
Girl, it really will. That's why you got to have a gracious community so they can give you grace.
And you do. We truly love you, and you're such a gem.
Thank
And
you.
honestly, I learned so much about you, like from what you share, and then also about like the information that you share and your stances on things. It really helps to like cut through the noise sometimes. Mhm.
I appreciate that. Because,
Mhm.
man, sometimes I just be talking and I'm like, Lord, I
Mm-mm.
hope this makes sense to
Mm-mm.
somebody.
We picking up every little bit, every little
Mm,
bit. We may not agree, but
yeah.
I appreciate you covering certain things. I actually wanted to ask you a topic that I was wondering if you could like research in the future,
Hmm.
but not right now because I know you have a lot to cover and I know you're a very busy woman. Yes. I love that for you.
Thank you. I
Did
do
you hear
too.
about what's going on in oh my gosh, his name is Ibrahim. If somebody can drop his name in the link, it's pretty much what's going on in this one country in Africa right now, and my mind's gonna blank because I'm so nervous.
Traore, Ibrahim
Yes,
Traore in
yes,
Burkina Faso.
yes, 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 yes.
Girl, girl, Cha- girl. I've been watching.
Okay, you've been
I've
watching.
been
Okay, because I
I've
was
been
just like, I
watching.
wonder because nobody else. I've been watching a lot of people, and there's only one person that I follow on YouTube who's adamant, like he's at the forefront, but that's his thing.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if people have been watching and paying attention, but people have been, and I just wanted to get it out there because that's one thing. And I wanted to say I have an unpopular opinion, Miss Loree.
Okay, let's hear it. We listen and we don't judge.
Okay,
I
I
mean, not
didn't
out loud anyway.
I didn't like the movie.
Really? Okay, can you talk about why you didn't like it without spoilers?
I can.
Okay, let's hear
And
it.
personally, I went in blind.
Okay.
I do consider myself a spiritual girly, so symbolism was not lost on me.
Okay, good.
But the trailer, when I first saw it, I just saw the trailer briefly like a few months ago.
Mhm.
And to me, it was kind of shown as like a horror film.
Yeah.
And I'm a horror buff. I love
Oh.
I was the little kid watching Saw and watching all the blood and I'm
See.
like this. I'm
So
like this,
you
but I'm
you
still
wanted
watching.
that. You wanted that the whole time and you didn't get that.
And I didn't think, and to me the special effects when it came to the horror aspect
Mhm.
was I didn't feel like it delivered, and I did feel like the film was a bit busy and I had so many questions and I can't. Okay, so the questions I do have will spoil it. But I
Okay.
had a lot of, I feel like I left with a lot of questions, and I just feel like I'm the only person, the only Black person in the world right now who's like, I hate this because I wanted to love it. Everybody is eating it up, and I'm just like, nobody will answer my questions either. So I'm just kind of
Okay.
like,
You know what? Next week, I think I might do this again next week. It depends on what's
mm-hmm,
happening with my. Oh wait, no, we have a dance situation. It might not be next week, but the week after.
mm-hmm.
By that point, everyone should have seen it.
Right,
And then
right,
if it works for your schedule, I would love for you to come back and pop in and then ask the question. I just don't want to spoil it for people.
right.
But yeah, so as somebody who is not a horror buff and who avoids horror films, I was like, okay. It didn't feel.
Yeah, and for me, it was the opposite. I was just like,
You was like, where's the Fright Night? Where's the
I mean,
Chainsaw
could y'all
Massacre
at least get the
situation?
blood right? I just leave it at that. Could y'all get the blood right? Just
All
we
right,
use the Kool-Aid.
you are the first person who I've heard who have expressed this. You did say it was an unpopular opinion. I'm not mad at it though. There are some films that people love that I'm just like, the spirit wasn't in that one for me. The spirit ain't called my name on that one.
Yes, yes. And then Melodoma Somé.
Yes.
clock it. I love him. I currently is trying to read his other book. If you don't mind, I can try to go get it. It's in my house real quick
Okay.
because this book was amazing. 1 second.
Y'all, let's see the house. Let's see the house because we already seen the yard. She looked like she live in a park. Oh, she went off camera. I was like, I know the house got to be like, amazing. She already live in a park. Chardonnay backyard look like the Prospect Park and down in Brooklyn. All right, I see we got Dorelle. We've got Gina. I'm seeing folks. This is okay. I'm enjoying this. I was a little nervous, y'all. I got to be honest.
I'm back, y'all. I'm back.
All right. Chardonnay's bad, but we don't see you on camera. But do you have the book?
I know. Hold on. I love y'all, but that's my house.
We were talking.
And you never know who's watching.
Your backyard looked like a park. I was like, I know the house got to be.
So you were talking about this book, right?
Yes.
The Healing Wisdom of Africa. I'm working through this book right now.
Yes.
Of Water and Spirit Changed My Life. I try to tell all of my friends, especially the ones who are like spiritual, to read it. And they're like, yeah, girl, sounds good. And I'm like, you don't understand. Yeah. He was saying some stuff. Like, that's what I wish we had more movies like that. Like his recant.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know these books, I'm just going to give you the summation, and then Chardonnay, you're going to have to tell us why you planting a fig tree, and then we'll get Dorelle in here. But so just in sum, and Chardonnay, fill in whatever I'm not getting right, because it's been a while since I read either of them, but and his wife, Sabon Fusome, both of whom are now ancestors. Her book, child.
I gotta work, so I gotta read her books after his. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Malidoma Some, she said, "I love y'all, but that's my house." Somebody in the chat. So Malidoma Some is I believe he's a part of the Dagara community in Burkina Faso. He might be from Burkina Faso.
I don't think it's Burkina Faso because his tribe is like spread out.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, when this is prior to them having like the borders that were created. So I don't know. I think it's somewhere in between two countries because they're like in a rural, remote area.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, wait, no, I just looked up his page, and I guess technically where he was from is considered Burkina Faso, which is crazy to me considering you just mentioned Ibrahim Traore, whose name I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing. I'm out of Burkina Faso. That's a leader that I'm watching for real. But so Malidoma Some, y'all, and this, for those of you who are, and this is not for everybody, and I'm not suggesting that everybody should have this sort of inquiry, but for those of you who do have a religious background, a spiritualist background, and you are open to discussion about some things, that these are books that you would want to consider. So this is a brother who, he's now an ancestor. When he was a part of the family, he was like the part of the chief bloodline. So he was, in terms of his genealogy, a pretty important person as a child in this community because he was the descendant of the chief. And when he was like 4 or 5 years old, the missionaries came. And the missionaries come, and his family is convinced to let him go to the missionaries. And his name, Malidoma, means something like he who would befriend the enemy, something like that. So they said, and the book is called Of Water and Spirit is one of them, and The Healing Wisdom of Africa is the other one. And I think it's in Healing Wisdom of Africa where he's telling his story. So he goes to the missionaries, and he is exposed to everything the Christian missionaries are there to teach. And for me, what makes this story so powerful is you see in like one generation what happened to enslaved Africans once we were brought over here. And he, you know, there ends up being a situation, I don't want to spoil it, but there ends up being a situation where he is in some real debates and battles with the missionaries because they're like abusive, and, you know, white supremacist missionaries going white supremacist missionary. And so he ends up in a fight. He ends up getting kicked out of the mission, and he has to go back home. But he's technically by age almost an adult in terms of chronological years, but he missed his initiation. So he's still considered like a 5-year-old in the eyes of the community, and he can never participate as a full-grown man in the community until he goes to the initiation. Child, he describes in the book his initiation process, what he's able to share, because a lot of it he's not allowed to share. And when I tell you, there is so much more to this world and all the other ones than we understand. And you just get to see, like, he has this one, I don't know if I should talk about his mom going to get the water. That might scare people.
No, I'll let people figure it out. I'll say the funeral, it also talked about what we're dealing with too as a community now, which is how certain traditions were lost because it was a traditional funeral ceremony, if you will, that was like he was able to see, I think, one time.
Yeah.
When he was a very small child. And then after that, it was lost on him because again, he was abducted
Yeah.
by those missionaries. I want to say too, the reason why he got kicked out was because he punched a preach.
That's right. That's right. It wasn't just an argument. He whooped that ass in the name of
And
Jesus.
also the story where he recounts all of this is in Of Water in the Spirit,
Okay.
not the Healing Wisdom of Africa. So
Whew.
yes, it was a really
Yeah.
good book. If you can get through it, it's really good. It was referred to me by my friend who also we have the same chief. And when I went into another consultation, he
Mhm.
recommended The Healing Wisdom of Africa and just all his
Nice.
other books and the books that his wife writes too, because I wanted something that's a little centered around women and
Yeah,
things like that.
Sabonso is good. She's so
Hmm.
good. Somebody in chat said, if you're gonna talk about it, talk about it. I bet. So there's this one memory he has where he recounts in the story where his mom and women in the village have to go get water. But the water is a long, far way away. And Chardonnay, this might be more, you might have a better memory of this because, as I said, it's been a much longer time since I've read it. But his mom, basically, because the water is far away, she taps into her spiritual power of shapeshifting and is able to shift into another being that is able to trot to the water relatively quickly. And then
Oh, that was a good one because I didn't remember that one either. I thought you
girl,
were talking about when they was out in the fields and he was chasing this rabbit. He
ooh,
was about 2 years old because when he got abducted, he was young too. But this was when
very
he was
young.
about 2 years old. He was in a field and he was chasing a rabbit, and then out of nowhere, a being,
Yep.
and he was just like, ah, like I think he audibly raced that. He was like, as a 2-year-old, because they treat they treat their toddlers and their children like very, very mature. So
Yeah.
he was sitting here having a full. I was so amazed that at 2 years old he was having full-blooded conversations with beings, and I'll leave it at that because I
Yeah.
don't want to ruin it, and I want people to be able to read it. And it
Right.
really just turns to me. I had to read certain passages in that book several times to make sure I read it right
Yep.
because it just is that
Yep.
mind bending. It's that
But
mind bending. I was like,
ooh,
did I read
mind bending is the word. Mind, that is the phrase, because what I'm always left with when I read his books is a recognition that we have, as African descendant people, spiritual technology. Oh, my light just went out. We have spiritual technology that we were encouraged to not tap into. Oh, wait, and my camera went off. How did that happen? Hold on, y'all. One second. I don't know what just happened. Camera went off, light went off. What, Lord Jesus? I don't want to use my other camera. Hold on. Y'all can still hear me though, right? Y'all
We
can
can
still
hear
hear me?
you. Yes.
Okay. So let me try to figure this out. So he basically, it came up for me that we have spiritual technology, and
Mm-hmm.
that spiritual technology is so important and so vitally necessary for us to be aware of, because that's how we get to free. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we get to free.
And
So,
that's kind of ties it in to like some of my critiques with Sinner, because I wanted to see more of that,
oh,
and I don't feel like I got
yeah.
to see as much as that as I
Oh,
was
man.
hoping. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I want to
Okay.
say, oh, and the fig tree, because I'm gonna stay on task, y'all. The fig tree. Funny enough, I'm a Navy brat. My mom was in the Navy.
Ooh.
I was born in Brooklyn,
All
New
right, y'all, I
York.
got a different camera, so I look very different, but I'm back. Here we go. Go ahead.
Okay. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville. Never ran, never will. That's what they represent. I do not. That was not my story.
You was running. She's like, I'm home
Okay. My
safely.
mom, she joined the military because if you know anything about Brownsville in the 90s, okay, so she joined the Navy to make a way for me. In the meantime, we had to rely on my great grandmother, her father's
Mm,
mother, and her father, my grandfather. And I was raised in Lowndes, Georgia. It's a very small town. If you know anything about Vidalia sweet onions, that's
mm.
where they come from, more or less. Okay,
Okay.
so there was a lady, an older white lady. Her name was Miss West. She was old. My grandfather, he used to help people on their property, cutting
Mhm.
things, raking things like that. She lived directly across the street, and one day her grass got so high. Her son, one thing about living in rural Georgia, sometimes the older generation's kids, they have to come back to help with tasks around the house and their property and things like that. And so
Right.
her son couldn't get back in time. So my grandfather went across the street and cut her yard, and she had a fig tree. And the figs were so good. And every time he would do it, she was like, you go ahead, get some figs, get as much as you want. And I used to tear
Wow.
them figs up.
Wow. That is
Mm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That is
So it's a full
beautiful.
circle moment for me with the fig tree.
Chardonnay, you have made this very exciting and engaging. I appreciate
I
you.
love that.
Thank you for doing it. Like I said, it's the first time I have done this. So between you and our first person who popped in, I appreciate you giving us some time. Your backyard is making me very jealous.
Thank you, and I love you, and keep doing
Thank
what you do.
you.
Do not stop. Um, we are supporting you.
Thank
I
you.
love everything that you do, and we want to see more of you if you can. And if you can't, that's right. That's fine too. Take the time that you need when you need to.
I appreciate
And
that.
we'll be here. And thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak to everyone. I say thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chardonnay. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is fun. I'm enjoying myself. I don't know what happened to my camera. It went to the default camera and back. All right. So now we've got Doria. Oh, hello. Hold on one second. All right. Let me check the chat real quick. Everybody behaving. As y'all know, I blocked that whoever that was the other time who came in with the inappropriate conversation. Yeah, that wasn't cool. So we let them out. Okay, somebody said I can let in 10 people at a time. Word? Let me find out. All right, I didn't know I could add that many people because y'all know, like I said, I'm doing this for the first time on my own. Okay, the man trying to cut us up. Yeah, we not. All right, here we go. Let's see. Hello, Dorelle.
Greetings. Can you
How
hear
are
me?
you?
You can hear?
I can hear you. We can hear you. We can see you. Can you hear and see me?
Yes,
Because
I
otherwise
can.
it's going to be interesting. Okay, all right. How are you? What would you like to add to our conversation today? Oh, look at me sounding like I'm on air. What would you like to add to our conversation today?
Where's my mug so we can have some tea together?
Do you have a moment of gratitude mug?
Well, hold on. I do.
Y'all better get them mugs before the tariffs hit them.
Mine says you're not obsessive, you're compulsively awesome.
Oh, I like that. Mine says moment of gratitude with Larry Daniel favors.
I love
And
it.
I got a whole spring line of t-shirts and water bottles that I was going to drop for the moment of gratitude merchandise. But I'm like, these tariffs, I ain't trying to have people paying extra for stuff. So I don't even know. But that's all right. What would you like to add to our discussion, Doria? How are you?
I am so thankful. This is literally a bucket list moment. As I saw you a couple of days ago, right?
Sure did.
At the mayoral agenda, right? The mayor forum Black agenda. Looking forward to you sharing your thoughts because I know you were, sitting inconspicuously in the back of the room.
In the back.
Making sure that when those hecklers was heckling, the
Listen,
was 2 steps away.
And you know what, to be honest with you, so y'all, she's describing this mayoral forum that we had that was held at McGirvers College in Brooklyn, New York. And it was, because it's a mayoral forum, we got 11 people running. There's a really weird situation with our current mayor right now. And by weird, I mean, y'all have heard me talk about that man before, so I'm not going to do it here. But the forum, it got raucous. Brawlic. It got really interesting. But the reason I sit by the door isn't so that I can escape when the protesters come. I sit by the door because it's a mayoral forum and my law center focuses on empowering people of our community to be able to meaningfully engage with the ballot. So I was sitting in the back because yes, I wanted to see the candidates at the forum, but I also needed to see how the audience was responding to the candidates so that I know because my team and I, we were back there. My interns were there, like my staff, we were there. And we needed to see how the audience was responding to the mayoral candidates so that we know how to more effectively organize and engage. It did just so happen it was also by the door when it got brawlic and ruckus. So if it got too crazy, we had an escape route. But, that was strategic.
I thank you. Of course, I'm a Brooklyn lady as well.
EK all day.
Right. So I was very appreciative to see you be in the spot. And so, of course, I've been watching. Like I said, it's you in the morning or my afternoon drive, and it's Karen Hunter on the opposite. And then, of course, in class with Carr on Saturday mornings. So, of course, we are all out here in these streets making sure that we are not performative, but that we are rooted in purpose and in community.
Yeah.
So I actually, this is my moment. You were on my digital couch, even though you've invited me on your digital couch. So let me get my questions in because God only knows if I actually have this opportunity to have you, sit and pour into my life. So I'm gonna ask this question.
All right.
Here we go. So you've definitely done a lot of work in culture and consciousness, and
Mhm.
in taking being at a place where someone saw you doing the work, and then someone said, "Hey, let me give you a mic so you can amplify this
Right.
voice, this truth to, this speaking truth to power."
Right.
And so I started actually asking you this question when I saw you at the mayoral forum, right? I sort of whispered this into you. And so for the people in the back, um, how are you? And I think you talked about the academy,
Advocacy Academy.
academy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of voices that are on these internet streets right now. Some who are just doing it for clickbait, some of it who are just doing it for popularity. But then there are others like yourself, like Sister Karen Hunter, myself, up and coming. What would you whisper into like the little Lurie? I'm Dorelle, you're Lurie, but the little Lurie about taking that voice and, as I like to say, pushing the live button in order to make sure that you're keeping connected to the culture and the consciousness and being astute in teaching people what they're not going to see on the Fox News and on those other tabloid-esque type of media outlets.
So I think that's an interesting question. And I feel like, so when I always say I stumbled into a microphone, because when I was doing the work that I was doing, and carry it, yes, what you just typed in the chat, that's exactly what I was about to say. I stumbled into a microphone because I was doing purpose work, right? Like I wasn't, the day that Karen Hunter, and y'all, I talked about this, I think, in the last time we did a live, the conversation that Karen and I had, or the interactions that Karen and I had. And she became aware of me because there was an incident where we had met before. And in that incident, she was not aware of me. And I knew who she was. And it was a moment where I was seeking, a friend was trying to put me in a position where there could be an outcome that would be to the benefit of the work that I was trying to do. And she didn't see, and we didn't make the connection then. We made the connection later when I was doing purpose work. I wasn't thinking about nobody. Like, it wasn't an intentional thing. I was just communicating via Twitter about some of the community policing paradigms and frameworks that we were working on changing at our law center. And then she saw that. And that's what got an interview. It wasn't a mutual friend trying to set up a connection that was going to end up working out. It was do the work and allow the ancestors and the God that I pray to make the connections that were necessary. So, and I know other people have a lot more intentionality behind their efforts to create a platform, cultivate a platform. At the time, I had done platform creation work like years ago, and I mean years ago, when Blog Talk Radio was still like a big thing. I had a Blog Talk Radio show, but that Blog Talk Radio show was called Financially Focused. It came out on Fridays. It's when I was in private practice as an attorney, and I had all of these laws, and I talked a little bit about this in the podcast, one of the podcast episodes, I think the one that came out on Wednesday for Lurie Breaks It Down. There are all these laws that are designed to help poor people. But poor people don't know that the laws exist. So like the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which I was using to help prevent people from being harassed by debt collectors. I was defending people who were being targeted for foreclosure. And there were all of these pieces of legislation and tools that I had available that I knew my community needed. But my community was too embarrassed to admit I got debt. And I'm getting sued for having debt. So I would go to churches, Dorelle, and the pastor would be, oh, Miss Favors, Miss Daniel Favors. They would always mess up my name. Miss Favors Daniel has come today to talk with the people about foreclosure prevention. Now, I done did the math. I know half that audience is in foreclosure. Like, I know it because I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the zip code. I know you in foreclosure. But there was such a sense of shame that they would not come downstairs to the church basement to have a conversation with me about how to save their house, even though I was there to provide free consultations. And so I started doing outreach via media with Financially Focused and a blog that I used to run, basically to communicate to my audience who could listen in the privacy of their own home while they're crying over their foreclosure papers, and they didn't have to deal with the shame and embarrassment. So even when I was building a platform, it was to target my community with information that they needed. So it wasn't like I was trying to build a platform for the sake of building a platform. So that's a very roundabout way of answering your question, which is I would whisper, do the work that is connected to your purpose. Use whatever your platform creation tools are. connect them to your purpose and to how you are working to make the community better. And then whatever needs to happen to unfold to allow that, I believe will unfold and will allow that to happen. But you're asking somebody who I wasn't seeking it. You know what I mean? I was just trying to do the work. And then I was like, oh, an interview on a national show. This is great. The whole world's going to know about the work that we're doing. So that was a little different than folks, I think, who are trying to create a platform. My sense of you from just the brief conversation and interaction that we've had is that you are more of someone who's trying to do the work, and the platform is used to amplify and do the work. So if that's accurate, and I say if because I don't really know, but if that's accurate, if my sense of that is accurate, then I would say continue doing what you're doing. I mean, right now we went from meeting in person at Medgar Evers College just a couple of days ago, and now you and I are talking in front of 300 some odd people about the work that you're trying to do. So it all works the way it's supposed to. It all works the way it's supposed to.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. This is literally bucket list. This is dream unfolding right here on Saturday morning. So I will let you, chat with the other people. I have to go do my work on hands and feet on the ground. Oh, and if shout out to your soror, Sister Herman, Alexis Herman, who just made transition. First Black Secretary of Labor. She made transition a few days ago. And so that is a loss
to that.
Us in National Council of Negro Women, of which I'm part. And, the sorority that you belong to, she's a great addition and a great legacy. Like you are creating legacy right now.
Thank you.
For people who need to hear it. So peace and blessings to everyone. God bless you all. Thank you so much for the moment.
God bless you. Yes, that was Alexis Herman. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to seeing your work. So keep going. Keep it going.
Yes,
thank you, Dorelle.
Peace.
All right. I think we got time for one more person. I see Gina is in the chat. Hold on. Let's see. Hello, Gina Best.
Hello. Hello, Laurie. Listen.
Good morning.
Can y'all hear me okay? Because I'm on my little... All right. First of all, I have to agree with the sister before. This was not planned. I listen to you and Sister Karen all the time, but I want the family to know this. I saw the movie Sinners. Okay. And I want to also, before I even go here, let me preface by saying I am the mother of India Kager. My baby, India Kager, was murdered by Virginia Beach Police SWAT team with my 4-month-old grandson in her backseat of her car. So I work, and I'm just going to keep it together because you all mentioned Malidoma Somé, and I'm thinking, there's so many things I want to share with our community, but I'm going to share some things with you all that as a mother who is travailing and struggling and doing things, I'm an outlier, and I'm going to tell you why. And this is my baby, India. I just wanted to, if you all remember her, she was murdered. India Kager, let me get up for a moment. I'm going to show y'all just a couple of things. Of course, I'm not doing an advertisement. I just want to share something with our family here. My baby, India, this is her. So that's the one photo that's out there on the internet. Okay. So she was in her car, totally innocent, had been in Virginia Beach for less than 3 hours, was hunted, stalked. Let me sit still so I can do a little better. Okay. Hunted and stalked by the entire SWAT team on Virginia Beach, September 5th, 2015. So let me just bring you all in and share some things. And Laurie, I really want to connect after this and family after this, because I watch all the time, but I'm quite insular because when you're dealing with PTSD, and I call it police terrorism, stress disorder. Okay. There are some things that I have learned on this walk that is extremely lonely, extremely frustrating, extremely, you all, I can't even articulate this. There was a video of me that went out when I just didn't know what to say or what to do because the fear that envelops our community. I myself became also very frustrated with that, but the mental confusion, just getting that call alone, let's start there. I will say that watching Sinners, and I'm all over the place. I'm just trying to there's some points I wanted to make.
We following you. We following you.
Thank you all for your empathy and for being with me because this is hard. I normally am not on the camera. I've been behind the scenes, of course, with Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw, the Say Her Name Mothers Network. Laurie, I think you were there in New York a couple years ago when I was there and I spoke, but I go off to myself, and here's why. Spiritually, we know what the Neanderthals did to us. They spiritually disarmed us. They took away everything that we know, and they invaded us. Everywhere they go, they're parasitic. And that's some of the stuff that I got off of many symbolic spiritual messages off of Sinners. But that was the one that resonated with me and my daughter, Summer. Summer was 17 years old when India was murdered. India was murdered at age 27.
My gosh.
Summer is coming up on age 27 next month.
Oh my
And when
God.
I tell you all that when you live through this, because of this lived experience and honoring and remembering India, trying to grasp onto this. I'm not proud of this picture in a sense that I love my baby, but I don't love that flag that's behind her because I'm not, there's a whole much that I can say about this, but I want to wrap in the ancestral calling, the ancestral vibrations that I felt while I was watching Sinners with Summer. Ironically, I'm going to just backpedal for a moment. The last movie that Summer and I had seen together, and by the way, my daughter's name is Summer, India's youngest sister, Summer Alia Mustafa. So I have a very rich tapestry of intercultural marriage, if you will. Her father's from Sudan, and I'm here.
Yeah.
And my son's Jamaica. So that's a whole nother thing. But India, let's talk about her. She's in the car less than 3 hours in Virginia Beach with my grandson, Roman, the 4-month-old baby in the back seat. Those Neanderthals surveilled her and Angelo Perry for 3 hours, watching my baby carrying her car seat. She only went to Virginia Beach to introduce Roman to Angelo's family. Unbeknownst to them, the Virginia Beach police were trailing them. Now, I'm gonna tie it all in. It seems like I'm circling the tarmac because I got so much to say that I keep to myself. But they were watching them for 3 hours. They waited, in the videos on YouTube under India Kager execution. They waited until my daughter, who did not get her license until she was age 22. She was very gifted, highly, and I mean, just gifted, played 5 instruments, self-taught. Very gentle spirit, complete polar opposite of me because I say a whole lot. But India was very gentle in her spirit and her decorum and the way she carried herself. And she taught me some things. One of her favorite phrases was, "Mom, have you considered?" And in her gentle way, I still hear her spirit saying to me, "Have you considered?" Now I'm bringing this to you all. Forgive me, family. I'm just trying to keep it together. And Larry, thank you for bringing me on because I know the time. I'm sensitive to that. And I watch you and Karen all the time. You all have taught me a lot of how to navigate just politically everything, things that I wasn't aware of until they stole and murdered my baby. Those Neanderthals waited until India drove into the parking lot of 7-Eleven. They ambushed her vehicle. They detonated flashbang grenades at her car, fully aware that she was innocent, fully aware that the baby was in the car. Now, and also they claimed that they were after Angelo Perry, but there was no arrest warrant, no crime committed, definitely no due process, because that's not what those Neanderthals wanted. They murdered my baby and Angelo. They fired 51 rifle rounds into my daughter's car. Now, as a mother in this position who has had to figure out a way to eat, figure out a way to keep my head together these last years. People say it's 10 years ago, but I tell you, it's always ever present with me because it never leaves. I felt completely alienated because I'm going to say this. I am no longer of the Christian, westernized particularly, path of indoctrination. I'm going to say that. So when they speak of in the movie Sinners, there are many characters there that I resonated with, but there was definitely Annie.
Yeah.
I have found myself when I'm in circles with other mothers, and I'm just going to say this, unpopular, but it's me. It's my truth. When they call out to Jesus, I can't do it.
You mean with the Say Her Name project?
Pardon?
Are you talking about when the mothers are gathered with the Say Her Name project, or just whenever you're hearing somebody?
When I'm with other mothers over the years, other families, impacted families, and they want to pray, I have felt a tugging away from that because I understand that we did not become Christian. It was under fear of death. where we were indoctrinated, even on the plantations. And I have to say this, unpopular opinion, I also feel that most churches these days are literally a continuation of plantation because of what they teach us. Now, you all were talking, there's so much. I'm sorry. Let me just try to bring it in. I want to make one.
We'll give another minute to it, and then we'll
okay.
engage. Yes.
I want you all to be aware that when your child is murdered by police, that is the equivalent of the mothers whose babies were snatched out of their arms.
Yes.
And who had to sacrifice or give their children. They did not want them to live that life of enslavement. They did not want that perpetuation of that. I, for me, am extremely, I'm trying to find the words. I have to, I listen to you all the time. It's just the first time I just decided to call in. Baffled would be the word, is why we do not band together on a spiritually. I'm not bashing anyone's beliefs. I'm saying for me, it hasn't answered my prayers. The sleepless nights calling out, why would my baby? Why Sandra Bland? Why Shelley Fry? Why so many women who've been murdered by police? You know, I'm going to mention Tamika's baby, Breonna Taylor, where we do not get the amplification, and also is still continued. Not one of the murderers of India were ever brought to justice, whatever that means, but yet we have to continue with that. Where does that strength come from? And why do we even have to be placed in that position to begin with? Because we clearly know here in this United States of America, okay, that they really do view us as less than chattel, less than animals. So I'm just going to say something to you all, because I'm going to do something. I'm going to walk you around. I do have the altar space over here for the women. This is just my space.
Yeah.
I do have to gut. My father built this shelf. He's gone transitioned. This is my walk. I choose to not be, and of course, India. There we are. I want to show y'all that. Can you all see that?
Yes, we see
the candle and everything. This is what holds me. So the movie Sinners, and even my library book of hoodoo. Yes, I've been studying everything because I wanted to know the why behind the what. Why is it that we haven't advanced collectively together? And what is the hindrance? And again, going back to me being in other groups, I'm just saying mothers. I know all of them, several across the nation, males and females who've been murdered by police. Oscar Grant's mom, Wanda. I mean, there's so many of them.
Yeah,
I don't post this on social media. So let me just stop this. I just want to say this to the family listening, and to you, Laree, my dear queen. You all, please continue to lift us up. And to ask myself, I was divorced from, well, separate from, not divorced, separate from the knowledge of what we need to do to collectively come together to combat the racism, the white trash supremacy, the ideologies they planted in our minds. How do we overcome that? We've been praying for 400 plus years in this United States of America. We've been doing all of that. But what do you say to a mother who, India, no doubt, she was driving that car. She was in the driver's seat, and she's hearing her baby in the back while bullets are piercing her body from Neanderthals who looked at her. They divorced themselves from humanity, and they looked at my baby and Angelo and the baby in the car as less than an animal. So the part in Sinners where Smoke and Annie, he visited the gravesite of the baby, their child. That resonated with me because I'm holding on that I'll see my daughter. But the mothers have me enveloped. The mothers are protecting me. I'm talking about my ancestral mothers who keep me covered, who keep me lifted. And I can't even work in the court when you all were mentioning finance. I was a banker prior to India being murdered. It's cerebral work, but I feel out of place with that. So I'm trying to find now the next step, because it has to be fighting for my people and sharing that, which I have learned to endure these 10 plus years. It's 10 years. I'm going to stop myself because I feel the emotion coming up. It's every day. I cried oceans of tears. But
I
it's
can
not
only
good for me.
imagine. And one of I typically, if we were on air, you know, the time limitations and constraints, I would have
I'm
had
sorry.
no, please do not apologize. Like I said, we are all having this conversation together for the first time. I want to first just say you have the prayers and the condolences, I think, of everybody who's listening.
Thank you.
And that is, we just want to hold space for that. The Say Her Name project, if any of you are familiar, what Professor Kimberly Crenshaw, who is considered one of the godmothers of also critical race theory, what she and her team are doing at the African American Policy Forum to uplift the names of women like India and just so many others, I think it is soul work, it is spirit work. And Gino, you have all of our love, condolences, prayers, all of it. All of it. And we hold space for you in that moment. And we say her name, India Kager, and we acknowledge that she, as an ancestor, is also a part of this conversation. And I know a lot of y'all are going to go see the movie. And the next time we do a live, I think we might want to have a conversation about notions of spirituality, about, you know, and for people who are in a very, you know, religious perspective, my thing is, you know, if be as religious as you need to be, a conversation shouldn't be a threat to what it is that you believe. But we are in a moment right now, Gina, where the federal government, Donald Trump, just put out this executive order, and they're trying to root out anti-Christian bias. And when it comes to questions of religion and spirit, I know we have people in our community who are every religion under the sun and beyond, atheist, agnostic. And I listen, you like it, I love it. If it works for you, it works for you. But as I'm thinking about what's happening right now, with white Christian nationalism, with the use of the power of the state to lynch women like India, because that is a lynching. When we think about that and we think about what's happening right now, what I'm struck by is they're looking for anti-Christian bias. But which Christianity, right? Would it be the Christianity of Nat Turner, who, after hearing the word of God, said, we cannot do this anymore, got visions and inspiration and was like, what can't happen is this, and then went to ensure that there was a pathway to freedom for his people? Or is it the Christianity of the slavers who were angry that he insisted that African people had a sense of humanity, a sense of connection and divine connection with God that exceeded what they had? And so I think part of the challenge that the Black church is going to have in this moment is that as we become more aware, as they break this thing called America, as we are seeing white Christian nationalism come to the forefront, there's going to be a forced conversation that I don't know many in the Black church are prepared to have. But just know that the rest of the world must have this conversation. And you can either rest in the comfort and the knowledge that if your faith walk is your faith walk, having a conversation and engaging honestly about the history of the religion and the practices thereof shouldn't be an issue for you. And if it is an issue for you, you should ask why. Right? We should ask why. And if your God is so small that we can't look at the accuracy of the history behind how this religion was spread, if we can't ask questions like, as Desmond Tutu, who was a bishop in the church, said, the missionaries came, we had the land, they had the Bible. They said, let's pray. When we opened our eyes from praying, they had the land and we had the Bible, and they've been in control ever since. And so there's some questions that I think Black Christians are going to have to interrogate. I'm including myself as a part of that community because that's where I was raised. That's where my spiritual foundation was. But there are questions the Black church is going to have an answer for. And we just have faith is not going to be sufficient, because if faith cannot lead you to freedom, and the faith that you practice leads you to subjection to further oppression of your people as a result of the white Christian nationalism that enslaved us in the first place, you got to have an answer for that. You got to have an answer for that, because one of the reasons I struggle with the church personally, and I have not been through anything close to what you have navigated and what you've seen and have had to endure. But one of the things that I began to realize was we have all this power supposedly in the church. I've seen people speak in tongues. I done seen demons cast out, and done seen people healed, but we ain't no threat to white supremacy. Like, we ain't, like, our religious practice ain't no threat to white Christian nationalism. We ain't getting no more free by calling on the name of Jesus with revival. We can raise a building fund, but we can't create Black liberation. And so, you know, I went through some things, and I shared with y'all some of the stuff I went to at Penn State, and I was a very active part of the Black church in that community. And when I realized that these white racists had me and a whole bunch of other college students going from building to building, hiding out, the white Quakers had to allow us to stay in the basement of their churches because the Black churches were too fearful to let us stay in theirs. And when I realized that Black Christianity does not seem, damn it, this camera. When I realized that Black Christianity does not seem to have any power outside of those church walls, outside of gathering resources, so that people who are in positions and on salaries in the church can do better, I just realized God was not pleased. God was not pleased. So I think there is a question, and I so appreciate you sharing with us your altar and being able to see, you know, how you interact and engage with the memory of your child. And the conversation about ancestors is one we are going to have, because so long as we as African people are not connected to our ancestors, the power that we might be able to claim spiritually is completely, it's impotent. It's impotent.
Yes.
So Gina, thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
your
I
story
appreciate
with
that.
us.
There were some other things I wanted to share, but again, this is not, I just want to tell everyone that I myself was brought up in the church by default. And that is therein, I think part of the challenge is by default versus exploration of the history. And please, you all, don't forget these sisters, our sisters who are being murdered by police. Our brothers as well, but the sisters, because they don't even want in this society us to be a place of primary, secondary. They don't even want us tertiary. We're at the bottom on the rung. So I'm going to stop because there's so much I want to share. I'm continue to listen. Thank you, Laree.
Thank you.
When I come to New York, I got to seek you out. I got to get my merch, my cup and everything. And I want to thank all of you all. Please continue to lift us and really love your babies, love your daughters, love them. Because I'd give anything to hug India now, anything to take away how she was murdered. But what hurts is knowing when I go to sleep every night that knowing that one of those cops, not one of them were brought to justice. And the fact that when they realized that we are law enforcement families, India's daddy, her grandpa, both DC police, my son, law enforcement, my brother-in-law, DC. I mean, I myself, a former police dispatcher, it goes deep. It's way more than what people realize. So thank you for that. I'm going to continue listening. And ashe and peace and amen. And to all of you all, whatever faith you are, don't think of this as an attack, but I would encourage you to start to explore and ask some questions. Ask questions beyond what you've just accepted as truth.
Ask questions. Gina, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Peace to you all.
Peace and ashe. Y'all. Whew. That was heavy. And I think we're in a time right now where being able to ask questions is going to matter so much more. And we have to ask the questions, because it can't be that we do everything else to get free, but figure out how to actually use our spiritual power to get free. And if our spiritual power is only good enough for what I like to call the money miracles, right? Because I remember being a little kid and asking, like, why is it that Black people have to pray to Jesus to get a job? Why is it that we have to pray to Jesus to get a house, to get a lover, or a spouse? I mean, you're supposed to have no lovers in the church, but a spouse. Why is it that we have to why do we need spiritual power to invoke what people who are participatory in lynch mobs can get without calling on anybody but the devil? And when I realized there weren't really answers for that, that's what really caused me to have greater question. When you know the history, and I don't mean the religion, when you know the history of your religious practices, and this is one of the reasons why I encourage people to read, and you don't have to read the books that I'm reading, but you should be reading. And if you are firmly and connected, actually, let me pause. You should be reading information that tells you not just what your Bible says, but how your Bible came to be. Like, people should know that the Bible was a book, a series of books that were put together, edited. Some books were taken out, other books were put in over a period of, roughly 1600 years. People should know that the books that we have in this Bible are not all the books that used to be in the Bible, and that there are other books that used to be there. And then you should ask why that is. And you might want to ask, what was it like why wasn't Jesus ever considered a Christian? And why did it take 300 years after Jesus ascends into heaven according to the text for us to have a formalized recognition of religion? And what would it look like to share stories for not 100, 200, 300 years and then start writing the stories down? Because when you think about the mechanics behind how the Bible was constructed, yeah, and yes, you can accept that it was inspired by the Holy Spirit, so long as you can also accept that them stories ain't start getting written down by Holy Spirit inspiration or otherwise until several hundred years after the events took place. And think about the stories that you know now that we tell ourselves that are a couple hundred years old. What would it be like to write those stories down now for the first time and claim that they had been divinely inspired? We should be able to ask those questions. We should be able to look at people like Anthony Broader when he wrote Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization. And we should be able to look at that. In fact, damn it, all the books I need are in my other library. You might want to look at Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization and ask yourself, when you look at the charts that he provides that compare the life and the stories that we know about Jesus to the life and the stories that we know about Heru, and you should look at that and you should be able to say, wow, this story that is only, 2,000 years old in terms of Christianity is the same story that was written on pyramids like multiple thousands of years ago. And it almost looks like the same story, because if we were to see something like that today, it's giving plagiarism. It's giving you copy these stories down that other people were already sharing and familiar with and made them your own as a part of conquest. And so when you can talk about the history of your belief system and then still have faith, that to me is faith, right? But to have a willful an exclusion, to refuse to engage with the history, to refuse to engage what we factually understand to be true and call that faith, to me, that's willful blindness. And so I say, believe what you want to believe. Hell, I'm a Black girl who was raised in a church who practices Buddhism and African traditional spiritual practices. So, you ain't got to believe me, because if I'm wrong, I guess we all going to well, I'm not wrong though. Because then we should also ask, where did notions of hell come from? And Christians should know that like concepts like the rapture, fairly new in Christian beliefs, like that wasn't something that like was always a part of how Christianity was taught. And when you know those things and you can study the history of those things, then I think that is where we begin to be able to more tap into our spiritual power, not from I'm going to believe the faith that my masters taught me that they benefit from me believing and not questioning kind of faith, but the kind of faith that says, if this story is true, and I believe that it is because we know it was on the continent of Africa before the white man came and gave us the Bible and took the land with their prayers, then we should be able to have a more honest approach to interrogating what that history is. I'll just leave it at that. Go see Sinners. And now I have to go. I got to get my daughter to dance. But I appreciate y'all. Oh, let me look in the chat. Hold on. Let me look at the chat. Make sure everybody behaving. Y'all are doing great. I love this. This was good. So yeah, we'll do this again. I want to say next weekend. I'm just not sure if that's actually going to happen. But I will let y'all know by Thursday or Friday of this week, because I'm a dance mom. So of course my weekends are completely unplanned and scheduled because they're taken over by my kid. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I am going to go see Sinners again. Y'all have been dope. This was fun. I'm glad we got StreamYard figured out. It's not going to be a weekly thing. Maybe twice a month. Somebody's asking in the chat, we're going to make this weekly. Not going to be weekly just because I'm a mom and I got, like life and I'm a wife and it's just a lot going on. So I don't want to say I'm not going to commit to weekly right now, but I would say twice a month we will make it happen. So stay tuned, follow the channel, like, subscribe, share, do all the things. But I appreciate y'all. And I'm going to figure out what happened to my camera. Thank God I had a backup camera, because that sucked. But other than that, I appreciate you. And all of you who supported with the super thanks, I appreciate y'all. TMFJ, stay coming with it. I am grateful to y'all. And somebody said something earlier. I think it was Chardonnay. I just want to say this really quickly and then we're going to go. She said, we don't always agree. And that is exactly how it should be. None of y'all listening to me should always agree with what I say. In fact, you should question everything that I say. You should go look it up. You should go research it. And now that we have this little setup situation, you can bring back what you found and be like, hey, Larry, I heard you say this one thing, but I found this other thing. Let's talk about it. I'm not trying to build no church. I ain't trying to have no disciples. I'm just trying to be a Black ass woman who's doing the Black work that I can for Black people. Oh, shout out. I knew there was somebody else. Jesse, it's that part. Thank you to you as well for your extra support. So please don't, I'm not trying to be an influencer. right? Like, I'm not trying to just have followers. I'm trying to help do my part to help Black people get free, which is going to help humanity get free. So I appreciate y'all. Please question, challenge everything. Miss Gina, once again, we are holding space for you. Chardonnay and Sean, appreciate all of y'all coming through into the conversation today. Thank you all in the chat. It's been dope. We're going to keep building this community and see what it do. I'm excited. I appreciate y'all. And I'm going to figure out my camera because I'm so mad at this one. But in any event, I love y'all. Thank you. And I will be live again on Monday, bringing you the news and all this stuff. Let's see what shenanigans we get into over this weekend when it comes to where the hell this country is going. I love y'all, though. Really appreciate you. Thank you. And bye. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Adios.